Hey everybody, it's Connor. Welcome to the Hoopercast Movie Hour. I have no idea what episode this is going to go on. I'm just testing out the new process, honestly. So it may be that you're seeing this clip before something very soon, and it could be that, Dustin's not going to be here tonight. So what shall I intro? All right, I'm going to make an executive decision here. Hi, welcome to the show. It's just me. This is a week where Dustin could not be here, so we're going to soldier on without him. This is the Conclave episode. We recorded this review when Pope Francis was still alive. It was just, hey, this is a recent movie that came out that people seem to have enjoyed. It got nominated for some Academy Awards, and I had access to it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch Conclave. And so I watched it and I talked about it with Dustin. And then after the review, not right after, but in the weeks that followed the review, Pope Francis's health continued to decline, and he eventually did pass away. So at the time I'm recording this intro, there's still not a new pope. They are about to start the conclave. By the time you hear this episode, there probably will be a new pope. So consider all of what we don't know and what we didn't know when we recorded this episode. Recorded with Pope Francis. I'm doing the intro now with no pope. And then by the time you're listening to this, it'll be weird that I don't know the new pope's name because it'll probably be all over the news. So with that in mind, I'm saying all that just to make sure everyone realizes I was not trying to capitalize on the death of Pope Francis with this episode. This was coming up next in the stack, and this is the only one I can intro by myself that we don't have to do any follow-ups for. So do not get mad at me. Please enjoy Conclave.
The Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
The conclave begins now. We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
And 1.25 billion souls watching.
Let's say this is a pretty fair vision of hell.
Well, don't be blasphemous, Ray. Hell arrives tomorrow when we bring in the cardinals.
No sane man would want the papacy.
Some of our colleagues seem to want it.
Another cardinal has just turned up. He was never on our list.
He has to be an imposter.
You look anxious. Everything under control.
Where did you get this?
The Holy Father was spying on all of us.
You should be careful, Thomas.
Although we sisters are supposed to be invisible, God has nevertheless given us eyes and ears.
What did you discuss with the Holy Father in that final meeting?
The arrangements were made in Paris.
I shall pretend this conversation never took place.
But it has taken place. This is a conclave. It's not a war.
It is a war, and you have to commit to a side.
Why did the Holy Father, in his last official act as Pope, choose me to run this conclave?
The reasons would become clear soon enough.
So Conclave was on Peacock, and I had Peacock for a couple other things I was watching, and so still got it, and it was nominated for stuff, and the Rotten Tomatoes score was pretty good. So I was like, all right, okay. Who's that character, that SNL, that Pete Davidson character? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
Oh, lit.
Oh, lit.
Oh.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is directed by Edward Berger.
The burger.
The Burger.
The burger.
Written by Peter Strawn, based on a novel by Robert Harris, and it stars Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, and a lot of other good actors that don't deserve to be on Wikipedia, I guess. It's a pretty great cast, and it is a film about a cardinal played by Ralph Fiennes who the Pope has just died. And so when that happens, the cardinals, organize the conclave at the Vatican where they sequester themselves and they don't come out until they elect a new Pope. And there's a threshold of votes you have to get past. And so it's just votes. And then, okay, well, do the black smoke. We haven't found anybody. All right, let's do it again tomorrow. Still nobody. Okay, let's do another vote right now. It's just a rolling cycle of votes until I kind of wish we did this like in Congress too. I kind of wish.
Sure.
You can't. You're not allowed to leave. You just have to stay here.
Yes.
You can't leave.
Right.
You can sleep. They can't have contact with the outside world. So imagine like putting Congress like into the rotunda and be like, all right, so if we can't pass the thing, that's it. Go to bed. And
just
these
figure it out.
hotel rooms, by the way, you're not allowed to have your phones or internet or any way to communicate with anybody. Can't talk to lobbyists, can't talk to your wife, can't talk to your fellow whatevers. You just got to keep voting. It's like, wow, that sounds like a good system. Yeah. So Ralph Fiennes is trying to get this conclave going, and they're trying to elect a new pope, and stuff keeps coming up that is sort of swaying not where he necessarily stands, but obstacles keep arising to electing quote unquote the right kind of person to be the pope. Within this conclave of bishops and cardinals, there's people who kind of represent the different factions of the church. There are more traditionalists. There are very conservative ones. There are more progressive members of the church. These people from all kinds of countries. So, one candidate is the Stanley Tucci character, who is American. There's another who is from Nigeria. There's another from Canada, played by John Lithgow. And there's, an Italian who's just like, this is an Italian institution, kind of like Italy first for him.
Yeah, sure.
Conclave is a smart film, and it's got a really subtle message. A lot of films about religion or religious institutions tend to come in with some kind of like, thing. And when it comes to the Catholic Church, especially, it's like you are either piling on to some other point of view about how whatever scandalous or backwards it may be, or you are doing something
more cynical,
you're doing something a little less cynical. And this one is on the less cynical side of things, which was refreshing, because I was like, okay, what's going to happen? And stuff does happen, but it's not like the message is, look at these flawed men. It's like, yeah, I mean, it was kind of refreshing. It's going to challenge people of faith who do watch it to kind of broaden their scope. And that's something that, sounds nice and easy, but like, as we know, like it's just a lot of times that just doesn't happen on its own. There's a lot of siloing and in-grouping with all kinds of groups. I wrote the mystery and beauty of God's plan is what it typically is, what it ends up advocating for. That's my perspective, because some people will see the ending and they will think like, nope, it's not cool. Nope. No, thanks. No, thanks. Or
that's not lit.
Not lit. Or they'll be like, yes, that sounds nice. Like I like this perspective on it. It just depends on if you are a traditionalist, if you are, where you are kind of socially in a way is how you may feel about where this film goes. But you're really watching it through the eyes of Ralph Fiennes, who I don't think it's a spoiler to say, like, I think he says this pretty early in the film, he's having a crisis of faith. So for him to be the protagonist and for him to be taken on this journey through the Conclave to ultimately get to a new place with his own faith is interesting to watch. It is a film that I would rewatch with somebody. I wouldn't rewatch this one like by myself. Like I got it, I got it. But it would be one of those where I would want to see someone else's reaction to it. At the same time, I don't know that I was thinking that much about it until I started just doing some research on it for this show and reading online opinion about it, to where I realized like how nuanced it was and how there's like all this stuff. They're like, there's a whole lot about women in the church, and you would barely notice it because of the subtle ways that Isabella Rossellini's character is kind of in and out of scenes and maybe in the background and not noticed as much. Which is a statement in and of itself. But then she gets some moments where it's like, it's nice. It's one of those things where you watch it and you go, oh, so this was definitely made with some craft, some subtle and intelligent intent. And it's got really great performances.
Cool.
Again, I mean, great cast, interesting subject. And the closest thing I can think of that I've seen that has a conclave is when I was reading one of the Dan Brown books. I can't really remember which one it was. I think it was the second one. So like, it's not like the industry is replete with conclave movies. Like, sure. It's an interesting and
the conclave cinematic universe.
Yeah. Like, oh, which conclave movie was that? Oh, they pick a pope at the end. Oh yeah. Well, that happens. Yeah. It's good. It was on Peacock when I saw it. So, if you're on the fence, I say it's worth it.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's a nice little palate cleanser from Heretic.
Yeah, right. I'll repeat my joke from earlier. So, are you Proclave or Conclave?
I said I am midclave, but I think that I am slightly Proclave. I sound like I'm Proclave. I'm repeating Proclave talking points.
Yeah.
So I'll say I'm Proclave.
Okay. So it's better than fine.
It's better than fine. I think it's pretty good.
Is it better than Fines?
Ain't nobody better than Fines.
Yeah.
Unless he does do that kind of like head naughty talking in here a couple of times. Yeah.
Can I just say, when you were explaining the film, for some reason, a flash of a comedy version of this came into my mind, like all the different countries represented, all being like comedic representations of those countries, like Ryan Reynolds from Canada and like it's all it's exactly what you'd expect. It's the dude from America who's like checked out and all cynical about the whole thing and like. When are we going to order Grubhub? I'm hungry.
Yeah. The French are the drinking at noon and nuggets. Right. Yeah.
Who's going to be zip up?
Who's going to be the pop? Yeah.
I'll be very, stereotypical and hilarious.
Yeah. The Russians are like, we in Russia, Pope
chooses you.
All right, that was Conclave.